Uptown, Chicago. We hear the word in songs or casually mentioned in passing. But what is Uptown? For many, it's another place in the city, or it's used interchangeably with Argyle, a popular street known for its Vietnamese and Asian cuisine. But there's more to Uptown than what most know. For those who live there, who grew up there, whose families have been there for decades, it's home. Uptown is an area in the north side of Chicago that is considered one of the most ethnically diverse areas due to the many groups of immigrants who have settled in the area since the 1800s. Given its affordable housing prices, it was considered an ideal place for low-income families to settle in. In recent years, the government has aimed to transform Uptown into a hip, millennial neighborhood in Chicago. However, such a vision has come at the expense of many of Uptown's residents as they found their buildings being closed down, or suddenly unaffordable due to increase in prices. It is for that reason that Uptown, apart from being an area known for its cultural diversity, has become a place of activism and community organizing as residents face threats of homelessness due to the government's capitalist interest of transforming Uptown into an upper-scale area. Akila Ali was around 20 years old when she first came to Uptown. Though she was born in Chicago, she grew up in Tennessee with her mom and grandparents. Growing up, she enjoyed playing outside, exploring her neighborhood, and going to the creek. Due to limited opportunities in Tennessee, she ended up coming to Chicago in the 1960s and worked in Cook County Hospital as a medical transcriptionist. Coming to Uptown was, in many ways, somewhat of an accident. When visiting a friend, she meant to get off at the Thorndale stop but accidentally found herself getting off at Wilson. Going down the street, nothing looked familiar then. Winthrop, Kenmore, all meant nothing. Little did she know that those street names in that area she accidentally found herself in would someday become her home. The more she explored as she tried to find her way to meet the friend, the more she felt enamored. The experience influenced her to move to the north side, where she has been living now for 50 years. Her building was filled with people of different ethnicities, Vietnamese, Black, and Russian, who came there due to different experiences in their countries. Despite such differences, they were all friends, and she fondly remembers babysitting her Japanese neighbor's children while they work. One day, she found herself shocked to see a Vietnamese neighbor crying on being kicked out for not paying rent. At first, she wasn't sure what to make of it, but the woman kept claiming that she didn't pay and was being wrongfully evicted. It wasn't until she got a letter saying the same thing, despite knowing she's paid herself, that something began to feel off. And when more neighbors who claimed they paid got the same letter, she really had a feeling something else was going on. Aquila's grandmother told her that as much as possible, never throw any piece of paper away, so she had a habit of keeping all receipts, even for groceries. When she brought up the eviction notice, the building manager agreed it must have been a mistake and offered to throw the notice away, and that she didn't have to show up in court. With her grandmother's voice in her mind, she saved that notice, but she noticed the manager was insistent on grabbing it. When she walked around Michigan Avenue one day, she passed by the courthouse and saw a list of people who needed to show up to court for eviction notices. Her name was first on the list, despite being told she wouldn't need to show up. She brought all her papers, all proof that she had paid, but they claimed she still had the case against her. She had 30 days to find a new place. It was that moment when she found herself thrown to activism. It was an accident. Aquila did not intend to fight for anything despite being aware of issues in society, but with her home and the homes of many threatened, she had to take action. Thus, the Residents' Council was formed. She took it upon herself to gather as many people facing the same issue and took the case to court. Not only was she able to win the case, but at that moment she found herself getting involved in more issues as she saw the way marginalized people in Uptown were taken advantage of, especially when it came to housing.
Taking smoking or whatever at a certain age, and he's pushed out of the home, he's on the street, he's gonna die if he has no survival skills. And how many survival skills do a 16-year-old have in Chicago? None.
According to Andrea Smith, slavery/capitalism is one of the main pillars of white supremacy. In Uptown, this has manifested itself in many ways. Seeking to punish Black children rather than invest in them is the form slavery has taken in modern days. This is why a disproportionate number of Black people are incarcerated, and when capitalism, profit over morals has become the theme, the lower income residents in Uptown are seen as disposable in pursuit of profit. Which is why for Aquila, youth matters most, not only in fighting against societal issues like classism, racism, sexism, but for the future of Uptown. When I started college, I knew I wanted to do something to make a difference in the world. For the longest of times, I felt helpless figuring out what I could do to bring awareness to various issues going on in society. I always thought my age was a restriction, But in hearing Aquila's story and learning about Uptown, I realized I've underestimated myself. Young people are the future of the world we wish to see, not just for ourselves, but for the generations following us. There will come a day I will be the one talking about the work I've done with someone younger, as Aquila had done for me in talking about Uptown. I can only hope to make as great an impact as she had for the people in her community. For her, Uptown is a microbiome of how the world should be, amidst issues like gentrification, which is the process of renovating an area so the wealthier move in, while those in the lower class are forced out due to rising prices, that has unfortunately become so prominent. As we continued to talk in the restaurant, we paused for a moment as she said hi to a few women with their children who passed by. Looking back at me, she proudly told me how she took care of those women when they were children and how she knew their mothers too. And when a group of children came in, she could only smile and point their way.
Beautiful kids. Look, all nationalities there. You have 1, 2, 3. Mhm. But if they're allowed to grow and be okay, they'll be okay. But because of the laws, at some point the separation comes in. He won't be allowed to walk the street freely. He will, but then he himself, because he is.
For the government, Uptown is viewed as a potential cash cow for capitalist profit, regardless of what that may mean for many of its residents. But for her and those who live there, it's home. Uptown should be a place to continue to support the community and its future, all of them, not just for those who have money coming in due to gentrification. Like many, Aquila wasn't born an activist. She became one due to circumstances and with how much Uptown meant for her. For her, it's home. The community was a place worth fighting for her neighbors then,